There we go. We are in progress now. So I just want to officially say welcome to my two amazing registered pilgrims and my two potential pilgrims to join me on a great trip, an upcoming trip, whenever that might be. So we will talk about the dates and the possibilities and the potentials. And I've just explained a little bit of the measurements of the energy field of the Bosnian pyramids that we have recently inquired about or learned about. And when they were built somewhere in that vicinity. Of course, I'm sure that we don't 100% know the times, but the intention was to bring us healing and enlightenment and work from that space of that higher level of existence. Now, with time and with the closures of many of those tunnels that are the access to all the pyramids, and everything that happened on this planet in the interim, the readings went down to today's reading being around 310, which is still positive. It's willingness. So it's willingness of the energy present to help us to heal. And Dr. Michael Tellinger explained in one of the recent talks that he was on about the whole complex of the Bosnian pyramids representing and mimicking our lungs and our lung capacity and our functions, the functionality of our lungs. So you can actually compare it. He said, since he had some kind of a medical background, I don't know how far he went, but he said it looked to him like, the bronchi and the alveoli of the lungs, they have these branches, right? So they're all branched out. And then he mentioned the sound that we know about, that Dr. Sam talked about as well, which can be measured as well. So the sound that travels through these cavities and these tunnels, which have a certain structure, so they're wavy. So the sound has to follow that and creates and builds up, where in the center of the pyramid on top, when measured, it's like 28 kilowatt, or maybe even stronger, because Dr. Sam said, as you measure it, the higher you go, the stronger it gets. So I think that was fascinating. And of course, the negative ion content in the tunnels is extremely high. I think is above, if I remembered correctly, 10,000 of ionic count. And he said, go there and breathe in those negative ions, sit in that energy and heal yourself, heal your body and energize your body. Obviously, the pyramids are willing to help us and are waiting for us to come there and enjoy that energy that is present there. So that's that.
Nada?
Yes.
Can I add something that I learned just today about the Bosnian pyramids? I was listening to Gene Decode, and he said the Bosnian pyramids are about 40,000 years old. I don't know what Dr. Sam says. And
over 30,000, he said.
And Gene said there's over 10,000 pyramids on Earth, some of which are under the earth or under the oceans. And in relation to, say, the Egyptian pyramids, which were built about, I think he said 150,000 years ago, something like that. So they're considerably older than the Bosnian. And also their construction, shows that evidence. The concrete of the Bosnian pyramids is a more recent technology, even though it's a superior concrete to our current highest level concrete, right? And he said that all these pyramids were built as machines, basically, to create a field throughout the planet to actually protect the human life here from invasion. Okay, but somebody got through the field, and interfered with those frequencies. And so which explains why these scalar frequencies show us how the original frequency versus the current is so different.
Correct. And I've mentioned before, I know this is your first time with us, but yes, Dr. Sam himself said that the pyramids measure over 30 something thousand years in accordance to today's capacity of measurement, where they took the fossilized, parts of the land and so on. That's how they were able to measure it. And there are three different levels of existence of those pyramids. So from the initial civilization that built them to the remnants of the Great Flood, which remained, it brought in certain components of the environment into the tunnels and deposited itself there, to another one, which was that certain tunnels, or pretty much most of the tunnels, were purposely closed off, and for whatever reason. So invasion sounds very, very plausible there. And the inscriptions on those megalith stones in the chambers, from what we have seen so far, what I have seen, they also say, they speak to the point that these closings are to remain until a certain time, until something is, they said, I forgot the exact words, but basically it's something, we're closing the tunnels, we're closing the entrance points, and securing these pyramids and tunnels until basically the coast is clear, right? Until that invasion, or the intrusion was over, and then we will reopen them. So yeah, it's interesting that basically you've confirmed all of that now with what you heard from Gene Decode. Yes, that's great. Great news. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. So does anybody else have something to add on or ask?
I got a question of Sandy. Sandy, the consciousness scale, what's the name of the person? Was it David who?
I don't know what person you're referring to.
The name of the
Hawkins.
scale.
Oh, you mean who developed the scale is David Hawkins.
Hawkins.
And the book Power versus Force.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
That's a fascinating book. And by the way, I think I've heard Mary mention that as well, in some form or shape.
Huh.
David
Mary
Hawkins and something, yeah.
Mary who?
Mary Morrissey. We are all Mary Morrissey people here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, not me. So
I know.
That's why I said Mary who.
Yes, of course. Of course. Yeah. So what is the situation on location? I've put a couple calls, and I constantly am in touch with my family over there and so on. So it seems to be constantly shifting, but it was better. Now they've kind of stepped up a notch because there were supposedly more cases in certain areas that kind of popped up. So they've put some restrictions in there. So it's constantly shifting and changing as time goes on. And they had to deal also with the earthquakes, and I believe those tremors might be still going on. I know that when I asked my family, they would confirm that, except now it has become a normal kind of a thing. So unless it's more potent, then, they would talk about that. So it's, the time of assessment, those locations and the homes and whatever has been affected is constantly being assessed and reassessed, because with every tremor, something that was in the category of orange, which means it was not quite there to be, leveled and had to be completely rebuilt, but maybe had a potential to be saved. Well, a lot of times with the additional tremors, it just goes down and falters, and it changes to code red, basically. So it's an ongoing process, but they are, they're doing everything possible to deal with the situation as it happens. My uncle is Božidar, the mayor. Is very much involved in everything and taking really, really good care. He's truly a shepherd of his people over there, and taking good care of them and making sure that those that didn't have a home, that they got he connected to a friend that brought a whole bunch of these RVs over. So throughout the winter, they had, a proper warm place to stay, to sleep, to eat, and tend to their needs. I asked him about, the rebuilding part. I said, I don't know, but maybe the fastest way would be to do those module homes, right, which can be easily put together and quickly put together. And he says, as a matter of fact, yes, that's what they have already kind of initiated. And they would be also more sturdy for potential earthquakes and so on. So, yeah. So there you go. So there is life is going on. People are busy in trying to rebuild their lives and waiting for spring to come. And spring is at their doorsteps, with occasional beautiful days, and then it goes back down into lower temperatures, which is normal for this time of the year in a continental climate. But as I say, very, very sturdy people and enduring a lot, and have been through centuries, as we know. So I'm very proud of them, and yeah, I try to keep the spirits high. So you know that I have throughout last year, I've initiated and written about 25 short stories about sustainable living as part of the foundation of my foundation, the Joseph B. Corey Foundation. So I am in the process of looking for an illustrator for these stories. We have been also creating videos, so I read them to the kids. It's from a child's perspective, and they're all my memories from my childhood, basically growing up in such an environment as such in the background here. So I told him, I said, I want to create this and, give all the profits towards the fund of rebuilding the community, to new levels and more sustainable, maybe lifestyle, which I've been trying to bring in there with with bringing Young Living, Gary Young there, and seeing what they can grow and how to do all of that. So we shall see. It's my dream, and we are dream builders. So here you go. It's out in the open. I'm working on it and taking steps towards that manifests. So that's in regard to that. I spoke with a very dear friend that lives on the coastline, where I created the pre-trip to Croatia too, and she basically told me the same thing. It's like there are pockets of supposedly some cases more here and there and so on. So they're putting back some restrictions, but the travel is still just having the
COVID restrictions or restrictions because of the earthquake?
No, because of COVID, not earthquake.
COVID. Okay.
right. So we were joking, we said, well, it's interesting that nobody is dying of anything else but COVID anymore. So we're cured from cancers and heart diseases and everything else.
Right.
We live in magical times.
Yeah.
So
There's only one disease
yeah.
in the world right now.
Yeah.
Stupidity.
Well, it is what it is. So, but this is where we are in our 3D world, but we want to rise and go into the 5D world, right? So we're looking for that, that energy that maybe the Bosnian pyramids can trigger in us as well, right? So there is a higher energy field there. But of course, we have to elevate our own within us first. So
That's right.
yeah.
That's where it's at.
So, so what I haven't done anything yet, but I was thinking, and I would like your input as well, that with this instability as is right now, it might be wiser, and what Dr. Sam as well said, to actually plan the trip more in September, like originally planned, instead of June. Because of these uncertainties that are still present quite a bit. So what do you think? So it would basically, it would be, you know, the pre-trip would be starting on September 5th through September 11th. And then the actual main trip would be September 13th through 27th. Obviously built around the equinox, right? The fall equinox, which is on the 22nd. So that's it. The itinerary is pretty much the same. Not much has changed because it was originally built in that time frame anyways. Just as a safety precaution, I have also secured dates for the following year. I just said, you know, I'm looking at this. Let me look at the next year as well. So I secured dates for both times, June and September 2022. So if it would be June, the pre-trip would be from the 5th of June through the 11th, and the main trip would be from the 12th through, actually the 12th is the transition day. So the 13th official first day through the 27th as a departure day. And if it is September 2022, it would be again September 6th through the 11th, and then 13th through the 27th departure day. So pretty much it stays the same. The summer solstice 2022 is June 21, and the fall equinox is September 2022. 22. Oh, that's good. 20. So it's September 22, 2022. The year and the date kind of coincide. That's interesting. So I don't think we have much to worry about. And I know that everybody is very accommodating to whatever we need and however we need to place it. So I don't have any fears or any concerns regarding that. There is nothing, you know, it's just that that things stabilize more and that we can then travel in peace and without much of, you know, any kind of interferences and whatever, you know, restrictions and stuff like that. So it's not going anywhere, and I'm not going anywhere either. So it's all waiting. It just gives me more time to think of better things to do. You know, what else can we see? Where else can we go? What, you know, what else can we experience? Oh, have I told you about the golden olive oil, the Croatian golden olive oil?
Golden
Oh.
what?
Golden olive oil from Croatia.
No.
I haven't. Oh, well, on my last trip there, I met this gentleman very close to my hometown, and he is producing golden olive oil. They harvest this olive oil at this particular time in Istria on the coast, that the oil remains kind of golden color. and then they infuse it with actual edible 24-karat gold flakes. Have you ever seen that?
Uh-uh. No.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Maybe I'll go, and I don't know if you can see it on, I guess I have a little bottle here. It's just amazing. So I told him, and he also has truffle oil and stuff like that. So I said, when I come with my group, would you be willing to do some tasting or something like that? Oh, absolutely, we can do that. So yeah, so there's a lot of goodies that, you know, I will tend to bring into.
The treasures of Croatia.
Yes, the special treasures of Croatia, that's for sure. Yeah.
Can you describe what the pre-trip is? Is that just for exploring the area?
The pre-trip, which actually was triggered by Lois here, who said, we're not going, so we might as well kind of reward ourselves and stay longer or go whatever. So that triggered me to create this pre-trip, which would be this time going to the northern part of the coast, because we are going inland, not the coast on the main trip. So so I chose going to Istria, the northern part, which kind of borders to Italy. So it's in that upper part of the Istrian Peninsula. There is the main city is called Pula, which has a full standing Colosseum, because it was, you know, during the Roman times, with catacombs underneath it, you know, for the whatever, the gladiators and whoever, and the animals and so on. You can see it, you can walk through that area, and they do film festivals there. And then it would another side trip would be going to the Briuni Islands. There's a number of those islands that were, during the time of Yugoslavia, they were Tito's islands. He had his villa there and hotel and a whole big zoo where all the animals that he was gifted from a variety of countries, they all are there now on that island as you know, free-ranging zoo for all of them. It's beautiful country. It has beautiful history, and of course the food is amazing everywhere. And then the visit to Lim Channel, or we call it Limski Canal, which is a gorge, one of the only gorges there, which leads from the Adriatic deep inland, and it's very deep, and they grow mussels there. So it's a side excursion as well. And then we have Motovun. Motovun is in the central part of Istria, a small town, which is, if you know, if you've been to Italy and you've visited any of these old towns in, I don't know, Umbria or Tuscany, right? So they are like located on a hill, on a higher elevation, and the whole city is built around it, like in a circle with a top square, usually having a church on it, right? That's how usually they go. So Motovun is such a town, and it is very much known for the truffles, the white and the black truffles that they go and hunt there. So I was arranging an experience of hunting for truffles and also eating everything with truffle in abundance. So it is quite a lovely experience. Beautiful countryside, really beautiful countryside. That's one of them. And we would stay at a small hotel in the center of the old city called Rovinj. Rovinj is right on the water. Actually, again, there is an elevation, there's like a hill, or everything is rock, obviously. So you have just like Portofino, right? Portofino is built into the rock. So this is also built into the rock around, but it's round. It's not just straight up, it's rounded. And it has those old cobblestones. And of course, on top, there is this beautiful plateau and vista with a church, with a relic in there of the saint that it's dedicated to. Beautiful views, beautiful sunset views from up there. So that would be the main location of stay. And then every day the trips go to these different locations that I just mentioned. And on our return, we would visit Postojna caves. There are about 25-kilometer long caves that are on the Slovenian side. Very deep and beautiful caves with a lot of stalactites and selenites and these
What kind of
they
minerals?
call them human-
What kind of minerals are these stalagmites and stalactites?
I don't know. I have been there when I was little with my grandfather, but I haven't been there since. And I know that it left such a magical impression on me. And I know now, of course, they have some little train that takes you through the area because it's so deep.
That'd be fun to do.
It's a beautiful, beautiful vista. So, of course, there are places that are, vortexes and spiritual places as well everywhere. So that is definitely always a component to that. So that's the pre-trip. And, so the main trip, the itinerary is the Topusko, the Terme, the hot mineral baths that are like half-hour away from where we stay, and then Plitvice lakes, which are the 16 lakes that flow naturally into each other. It's a UNESCO site. It's a beautiful, pristine environment where you walk all around it. There are boardwalks through it all. So there is some climbing going back up, because it's low down there, but it's easy walking. It's not something that's strenuous. And they have also like a boat across the main lake, you can, to basically bring you back to the other side. It's highly, highly negative ions. Oh my goodness, waterfalls everywhere. Waterfalls everywhere. Negative ions are definitely high count over there. And it's very close to the location where Nikola Tesla was born. So it's maybe just another 30 or 40 minutes away where his museum is and where he was born. So, and I just learned from my friend that another gentleman, young man who is very developed spiritual being and teacher and healer, who has bought a big property there and has his retreats with meditations and healings and self-empowerment as well there. So that gave me, of course, some ideas. I don't want to share them yet, but it gave me some ideas how to incorporate him and his capacity into everything. And then, of course, the capital city, Zagreb, that's another experience of its own. And then visiting you've heard of the Neanderthal caves, or the Neanderthal man, right? So that is also in Croatia, where they discovered the first Neanderthals there, and there is a museum there. So here you have the Neanderthal Museum with the ancient man. And on the other side, there is a lake with a beautiful castle that was first a fort, and then it developed into this elaborate castle that was owned by some of the dukes of the Austro-Hungarian, monarchy and so on. So it's a big contrast, but it's very beautiful because it has been well maintained as well. And then, of course, the main entrance into Bosnia, and going and flying to Sarajevo. And why flying? Because the bus ride, or driving there, it takes about 6 hours, and there's not a main highway. So ever since the war, there's still kind of just two-way road, and it takes a long time. So I thought we could spend the time much better exploring Sarajevo itself, which is an amazing, unique city. It's they call it the Jerusalem of the West, because you have the joint of all the religions, basically. You know, you have the mosque, and you have the Jewish temple, and you have the cathedral, and all of that, right? Basically in the same quarter, one next to each other. And of course, walking the cobbled streets of Bashashia, which is the center of the original old city, with their little bazaars and coffee shops, and it's an experience as if you were in Turkey, in Istanbul, and yet you are not, you know. And it's historically renowned for, well, unfortunately, 2 wars started through whatever event happened there, like the first one where Ferdinand was assassinated by, right there. And of course, there's this corner of that street where that happened is, of course, marked, and so on. So it's a very fascinating history, and the city and what it underwent, of course, during this last war in Yugoslavia, right, where the city is located like in a kettle. So there are these big mountains surrounding this valley, and that's where the city is. So the snipers from whatever, they were located themselves right up on those hills, right, and they had the whole city and anybody passing any street right there at target. So that's why it all happened so easily there and so brutally. But it has been rebuilt. It is like a super modern city now, but they kept the center of Bashashia, what I just mentioned, that core, they kept it as is, authentic. So, and that was not much targeted anyways, you know, there are smaller buildings and so on. So, and then only 20 kilometers away is the Valley of Visoko, with 6 pyramids that Dr. Sam discovered, and the largest pyramid being the Sun Pyramid, which, you know, is still all covered with topography. So there are full-grown, beautiful trees and land and all of that. So you would never know unless you would have the eye and look from certain directions and see the straight lines of a pyramid. So Dr. Sam, because there was not much of support from any organization, world organization or local organization, that would support and finance the clearing or the digging out the tunnels, he invited, and it's still doing that, the whole world, all the scientists in the world, to come and join him in excavating and finding out what is it that they have there, what they have discovered. And of course, many came and are still coming, and that's how they determined that the age was over 30,000 years, 34 and more, and now Helma says it's 40,000. So, and then these huge concrete blocks that, you know, built the pyramid, they tested it, and it is the concrete that even we today cannot replicate. So it's so strong. The tunnels that have been built in such a formation that the air flow is constant and the temperature stays always the same. So even if you go, you know, 3 kilometers in, the temperature stays the same and you can breathe normally. So there is no obstruction there. And it's because of this, this wavy way of how they built them. And Dr. Sam is such a gracious and humble man, and took us, you know, all along talking about everything that he knows and that he has found and is still finding out. So I know that that last year they found new entrances. I think there's now on the land that he personally purchased around the Sun Pyramid, there are 3 or 4 entrances towards the pyramid that are now, you know, discovered. And in some of them, they found some artifacts and things. This is something new. So it's a special treasure. And then, you know, we can climb the pyramid as well. He did that with us. So it's you know, it's steep, but it's manageable. Yeah, especially if you manage your breathing, of course, but there's an energy that kind of lifts you, which is amazing. It's the same energy that you feel in the tunnels as well. So quite potent. And there is another way where you can actually drive much closer to the top, and then just a short climb up there, and you get to the top of the pyramid, where there was a castle at some point. There are ruins now. They are just walls that are left behind, and that's where you can, if you stand in that square, that center of the pyramid, you can actually feel that energy coming up, through there. It's amazing. And the views are, of course, spectacular. And what we did as well, and I am planning to do the same thing. They drove us to on top of the moon pyramid, and the owner of that land, he created a beautiful picnic lunch for us right there on the premises. That was great. There are more excavations there as well, because they have removed some of the land, so you can actually see the structure of the pyramid underneath that soil. Some people stay there overnight in tents just to be in that energy field, and in the open as well. So these are the pyramids, the Bosnian pyramids, what I can share with you right now. But we also venture out to Mostar. So we drive out a couple hours and we get to the city of Mostar, which is another amazing experience of West and East meeting. There is this arched bridge, which you might be familiar with. It's over 2,000 years old. Yes, it has been damaged during this war. Somebody felt that it needed to bomb it or something, but they have rebuilt it just as it was, maybe now stronger. And when you cross over that bridge, you are literally in the Orient. You go from Western civilization into the Orient, with bazaars and coffee shops, those little old guys smoking their cigarette and having their little coffee in the Turkish coffee cup with their little hat on, the round hat. And they're just sitting there and observing everybody. It's very typical. There is a beautiful mosque there as well, which we will have the opportunity to visit, and a typical Bosnian house, which is, they call it çardak, as it's an Oriental house. So the living quarters are on the upper level, the second level. The lower level is working, kitchen, whatever. The upper quarters are where people lived, and women were weaving their beautiful carpets there. And the men of the household, they were holding their meetings with whomever in this special room dedicated for that, and so on. So it's definitely a walk in time, through time and history. And then the next stop is Medjugorje, which is a sacred place where pilgrims go, 2 million a year. I don't know how many there are now this year, but I will find out, or last year with the restrictions. Dr. Sam says that his business has not slowed down. He has been having visitors all year round, and even more so than before, but they are more local. So they are from Croatia, or from Serbia, from Montenegro, people that can drive there, right? So they go there because they've learned what happens there. So people experience healings. So of course they would want to be there in that energy. So he has been very busy, a very busy guy. So that's my story. And of course, in Medjugorje, we can visit the Mount of Apparitions, where Mother Mary appeared to the children, and explore that. But another bonus is that I want us to walk the fields where the Immortelle or the Helichrysum plant grow on the other side of the mountain of operations. And my friends over there, I'm sure, will be very generous in giving us some samples of that special sacred oil. So in the nutshell, I've pretty much given away pretty much everything. So I have to think of new things now. All right, do you guys have any questions, concerns, or suggestions? I'm open.
Well, Nana, I have a question for you. Let's just assume that we're holding the thought and the prayer for going in September of this year.
Yes.
And let's say things just stay the same. They're not very much improved, but things just have not stabilized out yet. When do you make, in your own mind, for planning purposes, a go no go decision? In other words, do you say
Question.
by June 21st, I'm going to make a decision. It's, we'll hold off till next year.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about this only from the standpoint of airline reservations and what have you. So
Understand.
when do you make that cutoff point in your mind as to when you're either going to go or slide it?
Okay. I think you mentioned pretty much a very right time to make that decision. So June would be a very good time to assess and see how things have developed at location, and also regarding the travel situation as well. So what is transpiring there, and what are the obstacles or no obstacles? If there are no obstacles, of course it's a go. But I think June is a very good time to make that assessment. So I would, of course, I'm staying in touch all along with Dr. Sam and my, my folks over there. They fill me in all along on a regular basis anyways. So I think June would be a good time. I haven't either done anything, I know that basically I haven't gotten any refunds. So my money for the tickets and everything is in limbo. It's, with the airlines. So I haven't initiated anything as of yet, but and I would say let us give it a couple months and look at it again and see if it would be wise to go ahead and secure the tickets and still be open, okay, flexible, but it looks that it's going in the right direction. So at that time, I would say I would go and secure the tickets. I've also spoken with Mirna. Remember Mirna? She's the travel agent that helped us as well. So she is planning to go there to Istria, where she's from. She has property there and family there, and I think I think she would take her mom over there as well. So I'm staying in. I also spoke with her this last week. I invited her to the call, but I don't know what happened. Anyways, I will be in touch with her and see what she thinks. She is planning to go there in June. Now, if she is going to go there in June, she will obviously experience things firsthand, okay? And she's in that business. So I will ask her to keep me posted and give me updates in regard to the rules and the regulations, and also the difficulty or the easiness of travel as well, what the whole thing looks like, right? Because we have to fly initially to another city in Europe and then connect, whether it's Frankfurt, whether it's Vienna, whether it's, I don't know, whatever other other city in Europe to connect then to Zagreb, which is then only an hour or something away from there. So that's what I would do, and that's what I will do, no matter what. And then, if things look like too iffy and too uncertain, and they're going to this yo-yo of closure, opening, closing, opening, this case, more cases, this not, then it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I don't think we want to go into a situation where we are dealing with okay, you can get there, but now you have to be quarantined. Hello, that doesn't make any sense. I don't want to do that personally, and it's
Right.
my family there, right? I could easily. I want us to experience and explore and be free.
Right.
So unless that opportunity is open, yeah, I'm not going to rush into any such a situation. But I will keep on assessing it and staying in touch, and I will let you what I find out, and then we can make our decision, because I'm in the same boat as you are. I have the ticket pending there, or not secured, or so on. So so why don't we do this? This is now April, pretty much not April, end of March. April is coming. So let's resume, let's say end of May, and just get together. I know that Dr. Sam said, why don't we connect in May and see how things are, and maybe we'll get him on the call and get him to talk with us as well. By then, also Mirna will know if she's traveling or not, what her situation is, and let's have a conversation and then take it from there, right?
Sounds like
So
me.
I definitely think that the wisest timing right now is September, then June. June is too uncertain. So I don't want to rush into that at all, because I don't want to be faced with lockdowns and all of that mumbo jumbo. Yeah. So, but you know what? You can always come here to me in Florida, and we can go and swim in the ocean in the interim. My house is open. Mi casa es su casa. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Yes.
Sure.
Where are you, Lois?
I'm in Laurel, Maryland, which is halfway between Baltimore and Washington.
And Mary, are you in Illinois or someplace like that?
Me? No, I'm in Northern Virginia. So,
Oh, you're in Virginia too. Okay.
well, she's in Maryland, I'm in Virginia. The
Well,
others,
it's
but
close.
yes, close. Absolutely. We're in the suburbs of DC.
I'm in Florida. When I think that, they're like, you go, they're right there.
Up north.
Yeah.
Up north.
They're close to each other, actually.
Yes, we were very close.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, I can share with you, I can send you the email of that reading stuff with all these sacred sites, and with the Bosnian pyramids, and with Dr. Michael Tellinger and Sasha Stone. If you want, I can share it with you, and you can look at it. It's quite interesting stuff.
Please do. Now,
Okay.
Nada, one of the things that we really want to do is at the end, go back to the pyramids and spend time digging. So that's
No
going to be
problem.
really
problem.
important to us.
I said that to Dr. Sam, that you all are very eager to do that. And he said, anytime, welcome. Anytime, welcome. So there is no problem with that. And that will require the registration and all of that. So in due time, that will be another step that will need to be dealt with. Okay. But he gave us an open invitation. So there is no problem there.
Super.
Yeah.
That's a highlight of our trip.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And if you come across anything that might interest you, then you might hear or something, or you find out, just let me know, and I'll see how I can bring it in. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So I will conclude this gathering then. And I thank you for joining me and yeah, for being so patient and gracious. And yeah, I wish we could just, blink like Jeannie and be there right now, right?
It would be wonderful.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday, you never know. We might evolve to that level.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So I will let you know, and we will resume in May. I'll give you updates, whatever they are at that given time. And hopefully we'll have Dr. Sam with us as well, so he can entertain us and give us some more insights of his own. And until then, I wish you happy Passover, happy Palm Sunday, happy Easter, happy spring. Stay well, stay happy, and dream big and hold this energy that we can go there in September, right? I'm not giving up at all. So I'm holding it. I'm there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for hosting this.
Thank you.
Very kind.
Thank you. If you want to, if you want this sooner, let me know. It's no big deal. I can set it up. No problem. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.